Okay, everyone, welcome back. I apologize for my last minute delay. I was having some hardware issues last week and tore apart my computer to put in a new CPU cooler, only to discover I did not have all the pieces in the box. So that was exciting. Um, Fortunately, though, new pieces ordered and on the way, and so soon my little desktop will have a happy CPU cooler in it. For tonight, my plan was to go back to the material design and XAML project. There's been a ton of work, largely by Stefan, I think is his name, submitting an absolutely huge number of amazing pull requests. So Stefan, if you're watching this, thank you, thank you. Um, the amount of work you've put into this project over the last several weeks has been absolutely amazing. So I do appreciate it. So I was figuring I would go through and look at, there's an outstanding pull request having to do with the calendar control. Figured I would get that merged. And then there's a few bugs that have come up in the latest version. One that's a little bit weird that I caused. So I was going to take a look at it just to see what we could do to squash that. So with that said, let's go here, and I do apologize if you get any background noise from my AC unit. It is hot here, and I need the AC. Let's get the music going. Okay, so let's start with pull request. Boom. When I say boom, that's when you open the window. There we go. So GitHub, and one thing I will point out. Okay, so if anybody didn't catch the news, the preview of Visual Studio 2022 has landed. So if you have not seen that yet, so if you're questioning when it's going to be released, the hint is in the name. So I will drop a link to this in the chat for anybody interested. But I have downloaded and installed this preview, and then the other thing I did is I went into Tools Options, and you'll note in Visual Studio underneath their preview features, there's a whole list of things. I turn that guy on too. I pretty much turn on all of the preview features. There is a lot of awesome stuff in here. This updated icons, which I think I highlighted in my last stream, which gives you these kind of new, I'll call them an outline looking icon, I guess, rather than some of the filled ones, which are pretty slick. There's this new dark theme, which is somewhat similar to the old dark theme, except for like header bars in the old theme that were colored are now a little bit more dark theme friendly, which is kind of cool. I'm trying to think of what else is really cool in here. The rich code navigation is pretty nice. Let's see. I've been playing around with the prioritized performance, and where was the out of band project load stuff? Out of process load and evaluation of projects. Both of these are pretty cool. There's been a couple weird issues I've seen, but nothing reproduces, so it's a little weird. For the most part, everything works great. So it's been pretty cool. And then obviously IntelliCode is just freaking awesome. We'll see a couple examples. There's a new inline editor bit, and I just absolutely love it. Okay, pull request time. So back over to here. Let's take a look. So this guy here is the new one. So just from a brief look at going through and seeing the screenshots, yeah, this looks pretty awesome. So you'll note Stefano, maybe that's the better. I am probably butchering that name, and I apologize. He always does a great job of outlining everything that's in his PRs, which is awesome. It saves me a lot of trouble to go through and do it. So new properties for the header, which is going to be this little bit up here, and then properties for the selection, which is going to be this little dot down here. And so then dropped in a new style, which takes out the header color, which I'm guessing is this guy up here, which is great. And he does call out. This is one of the interesting parts with material design, is material design isn't necessarily a spec as much as a UI design language, which means there's room for interpretation. And so the way the teams at Google interpret it isn't always exactly akin to what is in the spec. Sometimes there's slight changes like this that you'll see that they implement, which is fine, right? There's freedom within the design language to play and make things look good. It's just when you deviate, it should be an intentional change, not an accidental one. And so we changed the button for month and year. It's now pill shaped to match the spec. Orientation to horizontal like in the spec. So let's just take a quick look at these here. So there's the horizontal one, which pretty much aligns with what he is showing there, which is great. And then pill shaped to match the spec. I assume it must be this guy here is what that was referring to. Button for month and the year is now pill shaped to match the spec. So there, yeah, so month and year looks like that. Okay, so the screenshots look good. The description looks even better. Let's take a look at what's actually in it. So calendar orientation enum. That's fine. That's kind of what we would expect. Let's see. Set header is visible. That's just reordering those commands. Then we've got the new attached properties. So I'm going to back this out just a hair. Okay, so header background. So standard attached property. Nothing fancy there. Header foreground. Just checking to make sure. Typically on these things, all I'm looking for is to make sure that this name matches the field, which is then also the one that's used here and here, and that there's no disjoints in the types, which is usually those types of things typically get caught by the compiler, but the API for dependency property, a lot of parameters are a type of object, so there is room for mistakes. But for the most part, Stefano's pull requests are usually really clean. So, and then these are the new orientation bits. Okay, so that looks good to me there. So where are we at here? So this is now inside of the generic themes. So give me a little context. What am I inside of? Date display. Okay. So this guy here picked up a margin, which is fine. This guy down here, there's an orientation, target name, component 1.2 wrapper. Interesting. I never realized that was the name. Okay. So that seems fine, because all this is going to do is change the orientation of the stack panel from vertical to horizontal. I do wonder, and we'll take a look at it, if it would make more sense rather than leveraging our own orientation property to use the stack panel one. I'll look. I can't remember the fully qualified name of the stack panel's orientation enum. That may be something worth looking at doing. I don't mind introducing our own enums, but when they exactly overlap with a WPF one, as long as the WPF one isn't tightly coupled to that stack panel, it's probably a worthwhile enum to just use the built-in one. It's not a big deal either way, but the fewer types we have to maintain, the better. Okay, so selection color, dynamic resource into a theme brush, great. Selection foreground, dynamic resource into a theme brush. These are the opposites, so mid brush and then the corresponding foreground for it, which is great. Cleaned up the animations. That'll be fine. We'll see that when we test it. I'm not overly interested in checking all of those now. That looks fine. So on focused, this goes hunting for to set the foreground. Interesting. What is this normal text? Ah, so there's a slightly different foreground setting based upon whether it's focused or not. Interesting. Okay. I'm good with all of that. Okay. Template binding to the background, shadow depth. Oh, nice. So he actually exposed that up higher rather than making it fixed. Okay, cool. I was going to look and see. We might just double check to make sure that the shadow depth here. Where'd it go? This shadow depth, this template binding. This is good, but I'm gonna just leave I'm gonna just preemptively leave some comments here. I'll just leave. I'll leave myself blank. Start review, because I don't want to submit these comments yet. These are notes for me. And then edit. I don't think we need this visibility setter. That should be the default. Nice. You enabled clear type hints. Great. This is the orientation property being propagated downward. Header background. That looks good. I am curious at these visibility setters here. Most controls are in WPF will default to be invisible. I'm not aware of any built-in stuff. It would be a little awkward for a control to default to being invisible. So usually setting visibility to visible is only done if there's a trigger or something that's going to be like toggling it. And maybe it was done for the symmetry here. Possibly, I'm not sure. The difference there, interesting. Oh, those are at different levels, okay. Okay. Oh, almost forgot the most important thing. Mountain Dew. Late night coding requires caffeine. Cool. Shadow depth, default. Okay, so that answers my question about the shadow depth. It's being defaulted with a setter higher up. Perfect. And this is the new style. Okay, so a couple things I want to do right away on this pull request. So first of all, it's going in the next release because this is awesome. Next, we want to label it as an enhancement and a visual breaking change. And I want to tag this for release notes. So the visual breaking change, I try to tag on items where there's an obvious visual change to the controls. It's hard to determine what should be considered a breaking API change when you're making a UI library. Because typically what will happen without fail, any visual change to a control when somebody updates the NuGet package, typically there's a freak out of, oh no, something's different. What? Most of the time people take the change and go, oh, that looks better, great. But oftentimes there will be somebody who's like, nah, I want the old look back. And so I try to tag these so that it's easy for people to find those and be aware of what's coming in the release. So if you are needing a very specific look, that you can at least evaluate the releases and go, okay, I understand what the visual breaking changes are. So if you ever are trying to evaluate a release to decide if it's a good one for you to take into your project and you care very deeply about the look of controls, look for this label on the PRs. Okay, so let's go and check this one out. The only thing I think that's missing from this is I would love to see these things added into the demo app. So let's go grab this PR. Boom. So, oh, right. I forgot. Double click in Get Kraken no longer checks it out. You got to right click on it. And let's see. That button. Bring it in. Cool. Okay, so let's fire up and just look at the default demo stuff. That'll probably be a good start. especially when people do a lot of styling changes. I really love it when they submit screenshots in their pull requests, because at minimum it shows me that they were very meticulously looking at how things should look, which is great. Beliefs, we want the pickers screen. Okay, so we can start here. So if we click here, this is showing us, yeah, so you can click here to drive out. We can go, say, 2020, January. Hang on. I wonder if that's intentional. I'm just looking at that selection. I'm wondering if the selection on those month and years is actually, I don't think that's how it's supposed to look. Yeah, because this is how it should look, right? And it's just the month view. The fact that that guy bounces around with me. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna grab some screenshots for him, because I think so. Screen to GIF. If people aren't familiar with it, this is an absolutely awesome tool. Let me show this off, because this guy builds great stuff, and I like showing off great stuff. So if you aren't familiar with it, this is a great way to go through and just get motion GIFs, which is oftentimes on GitHub used as a way of showing basically short videos for UI stuff, especially for a theming library like this, where how things look and behave is critical. Having that kind of stuff in there is really good. Okay, so we got that. So I need to get the latest version, obviously. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to show off this. So what you do is you hit the recorder button. And in my case, I've got this thing set for one of my other monitors, but we're going to drive this down. And so we're going to just get this guy set up where we want it to be, right? So that's going to pop up there. So let's just, I try to dial this in for a tighter size. So the smaller the resolution, the less size the thing's going to take. Okay, so then we can cancel this guy out. So you can see the F7 record button there. So we're going to go F7, click, click, click. Okay, so I think the other thing I need to do is I need to re-record that, because I think I missed an important step. So let's see. Let's go back to the recording mode. So the key steps are here. Oh, let's drive this guy in. So the key steps are here, 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 here. Move it around. Okay, so let's go with F7 here, here, here. And F8 to stop. Yeah, go ahead and discard the previous one. Then we come over here. And then we go save as. And let's see. That looks fine to me. Fine to me. Sure. So we're going to do this. We'll call it calendar month visual issue. So hit save on that. Okay, so that's one potential problem. But other than that, I don't think there's anything I don't like about this. That one's not affected by this. This one would be. Yeah, so I think that one being the only kicker. I think I might even want to go as far as there's not an explicit calendar. I almost want to pull this calendar because this thing is so pretty now. I kind of want to pull this thing out and put it its own page. Okay, so regardless, let's go back here. So there was a couple tentative comments I had on here that I want to either. So you're fine. We'll mark you as viewed. Where are my comments? Okay, so one of these is. So shadow depth we already found our answer to, so we'll do that. I want to look at if this is actually needed. So this is in calendar, line 333. So calendar. Oh, I don't have Karnak running. Get that going. There we are. So let's see. Calendar. Oh, that is not it. Calendar. I mean, we are going to need that guy open here in a minute. Why are you not there? That one. That's the one I want. Okay, so we want to jump to 333. Boom. So I don't believe we need this. Okay. So I don't think we need that. Clean that up a little bit. We might just push some changes here in a minute. That might be easier. Might even see if we can track that bug down real quick. Okay, so, and then where was the other one? 487. Oh, I was right there. Boom. See, I knew we'd find it. Knew we'd find it. Okay, so let's just relaunch real quick to confirm that it does, in fact, launch. Okay. Okay, so perfect. Perfect. That makes me happy. So we will push that. While we're in here, let's see if we can track down this bug. Because if we can fix it, we might just do it right now. So we're going to fire up Snoop, and I'm going to put Snoop off to the side for the moment. Okay, so step one, we're going to go out, and this is in the working state. So I'm going to go Control-Shift and bring Snoop back into play. I'll move you off to the side a little bit. Nope. Did not mean to actually dock you like that. Stay. Good boy. Okay, so I want to look at what is changing here. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be a background property on a border. So that looks like a border. Let's see. Normal text, selected border. Highlight background. The heck is that thing? What? Is it like a fill on the thing? Maybe it's a fill on one of these guys. One of you guys is toggling when I mouse over, and I don't know which one it is. That's just the text box. Okay. I don't know what either of you are used for. What would this be? I guess we could just go look at this guy here and see. So the easiest thing to do is probably just hunt for today background as a rectangle. Today background. Okay, so one of you guys has either a trigger or similar. Oh, is it higher up? This is the calendar button. It's got to be in the button, right? Here, diagnostic tools. You're taking up space. Is it? Maybe it is one level higher on button. I mean, it wouldn't be above. Yeah, no, it's got to be button or lower. So let's do this. We'll diagnose you this way. Okay, so we're gonna move you down. Are you the guy changing? No. Are you the guy changing? No. Are you the guy changing? No. One of you is going to be it. Okay, so it's this guy changing. Got it. Found you. Okay, I really want to hide this bar right now. There. It's a little better. Okay. But you are the thing. So the highlight background is what's getting changed. Sorry, my phone is going crazy. What is lighting it up? Not a problem for now. Okay, so something is changing on this guy, and I would like to know what. So let's just eliminate the property filters. And one of you guys is going to show up. Oh. Okay, so it's the background is fixed and the opacity is what's changing. Okay, so in a useful case, that's what gets set. Okay, so the selection is driven by the highlight background animating the opacity. So if we were to come in here, this guy here in the visual state for mouse over, got it. It's animating the highlight background. Excellent. That's what we want to see. Okay, so that makes sense. So then the other question that comes is, what is the selected one doing? Right? So I'm assuming selected background is fixed. Okay, you are somewhat in the way here, buddy. Thank you. So this guy here, I'm guessing for selected, he has the same fill, and the opacity is probably set to 1. Yeah. So if I look at this guy, highlight background, and I want, so really what I want to do is look at, so these guys both have the same. Interesting. No, clicking off also changed the foreground color. So in this situation, the highlight background is the same. So there must be two things lighting up here. Yeah, so the selected background is lighting up. Okay, so what is the trigger on the selected background? There's something that is conflicting with this. So this is selected background is lighting up. So there's that guy. Visual state group. So there's the selection states and the common states. The only thing that should be lighting that guy up to 1 should be this storyboard. That is interesting. Why would that be happening? Why would it think its visual state was selected? So I guess the other thing we can do here real quick, and let's try this. So I'm gonna just stash those handful of changes. I want to see if this is an actual regression or not. Because if this isn't a regression, I think we log it as a bug and move on. It's worth checking to see if we can find it, but see, we go here, there. So it is a regression. Right, so we go there. Oh, interesting. So it's sort of a regression, sort of not. The calendar is losing its visual state. Interesting. Except for now it's a little more obvious, because that shouldn't be happening. Right? So it's... Okay, so what happens when you... Okay, real quick, let's just switch back to the other branch. Pop some changes. Go. So I think the new styling has just made the bug more obvious. But I don't believe these styles are the cause of it. But it would be nice to kill two birds with one stone. So when I click on this, what is actually transpiring? Because we have... You sit on the side here real quick. So these are buttons inside of grids. And I believe these are the visibility state. of each of these. So year is visible. All right, that one's hidden. Let's see. Where is the... So this is the month view. Wait, what is going on here? Why is there a month view copy border? Part month view copy. Let's go hunting. What is going on here? So it's used for animations because they're sitting one on top of the other. Okay. Because you'll note this guy just has a visual brush. Clever tricks. Clever tricks. Okay, so that explains that, but I don't understand what is happening inside of this calendar control. So inside of this guy, I'm looking for something that would indicate or control display mode. So if I go here and here, display decade, display mode year, display mode month. Okay. So it's only when I'm in the decade mode. It's only when I'm in the decade mode that we have this problem. Okay. Why would that be the case? Because here, if we look at this guy, back out. It is convinced that the parent template should make that guy go to parent template for the selected background is driving that guy there, despite the fact that he is not actually selected. What the heck? Somebody has got something weird going on. Because there are two usages of selected background, and so for some reason the button is convinced we aren't doing anything fancy on any of these, are we? This isn't ours. I'm curious if the isSelected property is true on that guy now. on the button itself, show me the selected property. How about didn't it just say that isSelected was a thing? Why is it not finding it? This is on a calendar day button. Drive in. Is selected property. Public bool is selected. Back out, there. Okay. What is the name of this guy? Must be because of the internal property key, I'm guessing. This guy's getting confused. Okay, regardless, there has to be something weird that we have done in one of these, and this may not be worth spending too much time. Okay, given that this isn't a regression, I'm going to propose we not worry about it at the moment, and we'll circle back to it. So these don't appear to be needed. Let's see, we're going to drop those. Drop these. We'll just add these changes real quick. Should just be the 2 deletions. White space change there. There's 1 visibility deletion. Second, read default values. Stage all commit. Push. We're going to come back here. Refresh, that should be fine. so we're going to do that. And then I am going to squash merge this beast and get that in. Okay, so that goes in. Okay, so I wanted to look at the milestone. And this guy here. So this is the one I was hoping to go through and have some fun writing some tests for. Because I think we can write a reasonable test for this to present it. So this is a bit of a weird situation, but let me grab, I downloaded this sample. And I must have deleted it. So let's download it again. So conveniently located at this URL. And so we will just download zip. I'm going to extract that real quick. And let's go and take a look at what is going on. So I left a comment on the PR, or on the issue here, that it appears that my change here, fixing 2277, is actually what broke this. So 2277 was all around figuring out how to handle the mouse cursor. And this is actually one that I did on a prior stream as well. So if you go back through some of the older streams, you will find me in a somewhat late evening type mode going, nah, let's do it and see what happens. What could possibly break? The answer, this other issue. So I'm going to get this other project fired up and I'll show you guys what the issue is. Come on, go. Yeah, sure, fine. I've already opened the project before. I'm pretty confident it's safe. Okay, so if we fire this one up. Oh, there is one fun thing. With the new VS 2022, I have been able to open up brand new projects and hit go and get into some failure states because it hasn't finished loading yet. It seems like it's just an interesting problem. Okay, so these are just basic combo boxes proving that the various modes work. What was not immediately apparent to me is along the top here, we have a menu control. And inside of there's a combo box. And you'll note, this guy here now fails. As soon as I go to expand this combo box, the click is penetrating all the way through. Now, this one here is how it should work. Right? No text for selection. But effectively, because this isn't an editable combo box and this one is, that's the difference. And then this is just proof that the default WPF handles it, so we've done something bad. So we know what my change was, and I've tested already to confirm that if I revert my change, this thing does start working. So let's go back here and look at the change. So there was a couple things here. So that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. This is all white space changes. Let's see. So this toggle button. This layout change here seems to be the problem child. So I was trying to remember exactly what I did on each of these to cause this change. These are just quality of life improvements with is null. Those aren't functionally different. So that one doesn't matter. Most of these changes here, all up in here is all white space related. So these ones don't matter. Most of this is white space related until we get down to here. Floating hint combo box template. That one surprises me, but not completely. So what is the change in here? So we add a new column definition and put this toggle button in it. Well, no, we put the toggle button behind it. So let's take a look here, because we can actually use Snoop to debug this as well. Okay, so for people who may be unfamiliar with Snoop, I kind of glossed over it before. When you get the app installed, and just to be clear, if you do Snoop WPF, this is the site you're looking for. And just grab the latest release. But once you get Snoop fired up, you'll get a UI like this. And there's various ways to effectively pick the app that you want to use. My favorite and the easiest, in my opinion, is you just grab these crosshairs that are to the right of the binoculars. Not to be confused with these crosshairs, because these ones magnify things. We want to snoop on things. So we grab these guys, drag it over the window we want, and let go. And then you get this, which is great. And then the magical keystroke is you put your mouse over the element you want to inspect, and you hold down Control and Shift. And then that automatically drives you into the visual tree to the element at that particular location. So whatever's underneath your cursor lets you jump in. It's great. For people familiar with the WPF tools, it's the equivalent of this select element tool. Let's just collapse that guy up. Okay, so what I'm also interested in is I want to come over here, and I want to, well, I kind of want to look here. So if I click here, so let's see, mouse button down, mouse up. Mouse up was handled by menu button, and I'm willing to bet here, yeah, mouse up is handled by toggle button. So because the mouse up is being allowed to propagate further now, that's what's causing the menu option to close. So before, I'm guessing, so I can hold down this guy. But if I go down, or I guess if I just straight click, because if I do left mouse button down, it hits this border, right, which is the border here. It's interesting that this, so the left mouse button down, because we can follow the entire routed event chain and do this. So mouse button down hits the toggle button, handled true. And then mouse up starts from this border. It was actually higher up than I anticipated. Mouse up, and then this goes, let's see. So mouse up starts here. Oh, so it's actually outside. This border out here is what starts the mouse up. So because this border is here, when it starts going back up the visual tree, it continues to propagate up. Okay. So, I'm thinking then, looking at this. Okay, so the issue is this toggle button sits alongside the template root, so it never sees the mouse up event. Okay, so what happens in the case where Sorry, I'm just checking through these to see. Functionally, I don't think these changes made a big difference. This editable combo box is actually really problematic to implement. There's so many distinct states around it that getting this thing to line up straight is a little challenging. Okay, so here's what I propose we do. Let's start with writing a test. We'll see if we can make the test fail in the exact same way as this. And if we can, poof, we'll just keep beating on this until we get the test to work. Seems reasonable. Because it doesn't look like I wrote a UI test before, so let's come over here. We will do fact. And let's just reference issue. So move you real quick. 2340. So we'll start with this. Let's see. Public async task on editable combo box in menu. It can be expanded when clicked. I think that's probably as reasonable as we can go. Okay, and then we're going to come over here. We're just going to steal some code real quick. Boom. Okay, so we need all of that, but we're going to throw away all of this. Yeah, I don't think we want any of this stuff here. So this is all going to go away. We need some better XAML for this. So for this case, we're just going to go Solution Explorer. Get over on the left where you belong. I am unusual. I like my Solution Explorer on the left. It just feels nicer over there. Okay, so to get into the failure case that we have, doesn't work on single click. So we have a menu that contains a menu item, and inside the menu items is a combo box. So this is our XAML. We will use this exact use case. And I think I'm going to just do, I'll leave it inside of a stack panel for now. So vertical alignment, center, the double quotes are only because we're inside of a string literal. Okay, and then we will put the combo box, or I guess we will put the menu that contains the combo box here. So that goes like that. I have to clean this up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that goes like that. Goes like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, three, 4. Let's see. So that goes like that. That goes like that. See, so that goes like that, goes like that, that goes like that. Then we just need to close the menu. So I've got a bad indent. That goes like that. No. Thank you, IntelliCode, for trying to be helpful, but no, that is not what I wanted. Okay. So I believe this gives us the right failure case. Let's just fire this test up and make sure. But this should get a WPF window with the same content. And then we can confirm or deny whether this is working or not. And I'm only putting a breakpoint here at the end just to pause the test so that we have time to interact with the window. The wonderful part about this XAML test is because it just spins a WPF app out of process, we can block the UI test, and then we can come over here and click on it. Okay, perfect. So that's pretty much doing exactly what we expect. So it's failing, so let's write this test out such that it fails. Let's see, so that's pretty close. So that's the stack panel. Let's give this guy a name, just so we can reference him. Top menu item. Boom. Put that in there. And then we want to change you to menu item. And then we want to do await. Let's see. Menu item. You can see this automatic fill-in that the IntelliCode is doing. I just absolutely love this. Absolutely love it. That alone is reason to go and download VS 2022. Give it a shot. It's awesome. Awesome. Okay, and then from there we'll just go var combo box gets await menu item get element, just find by type. Okay, and then we will do, I think I should be able to do await combo box click, and that should close down everything, I believe. So let's, oh, we didn't close it last time. That is one of the problems, is XAML test currently isn't killing those windows for you, so that went a little too fast for me. So let's do, I'm going to move this onto a different window. So I apologize. I'm backing up the execution pointer and running. Okay, so it went very, very fast. If I put another breakpoint before it clicks on the combo box, if I back up the execution pointer again and run it, oh, it's interesting. The combo box, interesting. I'm going to put 2 menu clicks in there. Stop execution, and I'm a little surprised that I don't see, I'm thinking it's probably just window focus issues, but I want to make sure. So let's debug the test again. Oh, I'm on the wrong branch. I should switch branches. Interesting that when I click on that, it doesn't seem to click. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this. Let's switch branches. This will make our life a little bit easier. Because now we'll have overloads here that are a little bit nicer to play with. Because on this branch here, we're using the latest version of XAML test. So I'm just going to stash our changes, pull latest master, rebase, and then pop. Okay, so we should have everything. Should allow us to do something more like menu item. And then this should let us do something like combo box. More like that. I'm surprised that my click is not doing as I would anticipate. So we're going to do this. Await task delay. I want to see some good time between those. And then debug test. Oh, this is still open. Oh, no, it's not. That's the other one. Interesting. Okay, so that delay seemed to work. I'm curious if the double click is needed or if this is just an animation problem. There are times where you have to slow down your test a little bit simply because there's not a great way of knowing when animations are done. And so if something triggers by the end of a storyboard, you either have to wait for a particular property to go into a state or kind of delay it a little bit. What is your problem? See, this one I left running. See, and that terminated. Why did it terminate? Let's bring this guy back in and let's go take a look. System exception. Failed to find element. Failed to find child of type combo box. Okay, so this guy failed. But by putting a small delay in here, it gives that menu time to actually finish loading. I'm going to take this. I just want to make sure that this is actually doing what I expect. So I'm going to put like 5 seconds there. Close that. Debug the test again. Just want to make sure that because we're talking about animation stuff. Okay, so that does in fact do what I want. Okay, so move you to the side. So we are just going to leave a tiny delay in here. But we'll leave a comment. Leave time for the menu animations. Wait for child menu to animate in. And then this is going to become let's see here. All right, so that should do that. Maybe we just grab this guy by name. And then string will hunt by name. Close you. Debug test. So it was able to find the combo box. I think I'm going to actually delay this just a hair longer. Okay. So assert true. What we expect to see here is combo box is open. Yeah. And this is an async call, so we do that. And I sort of anticipate that this test is going to fail. At least I hope this test fails. You want the test to start in a failing state. Good. Asserted true, but was false. And so let's just do up here, assert true, menu item, what's the property name? Something open. Get is submenu open. So, boom. So we want to make sure that that guy is true. And we want to make sure that is true as well. Submenu is not open. Combo box is not open. Leave ourselves some more usefully messages just so we can easily separate the difference. So to be clear, we got submenu is not open, so it is closing. Okay, we got a failing test. Huzzah. Let's go see if we can fix it now. Okay, so now that we've got that fixed, what I want to do is go into the themes, specifically this guy here. So I changed this in combobox.xaml. Let's go and play in combobox.xaml. This is right around line 414, give or take. Okay, so the U here are sort of functionally my problem. Because in this case, I kind of want you wrapping. I kind of want this toggle button to wrap the content. So what did it do previously? So before there was a border, and this toggle button sat over here. But in terms of Z order, so in terms of Z order, the toggle button sat higher in precedence than this guy. And the bug that this was designed to fix, let's go back. So if I take this guy here and I move him, because previously he was down here. So if I take him and just put him back there, does that then fix my test? Is the first question. Where did my test explorer go? I lost my test explorer window. Boom. If I rerun my test now with that guy moved down, does that fix it? Because I sort of think that that's probably pretty close to what broke it. Is changing the position of the Z order, because that would affect what elements got the mouse clicks. Interesting. So that got past. That got past here. So let's do this. Let's just debug this test. Because I kind of want to see the state of this thing. Test might just be going too fast. Okay, so that does in fact fix it. So let's do wait for, let's see, we can do async delegates here. So we won't need this assert anymore because the await will effectively do this for us. Combo box. So the wait for will wait for a particular condition, and it'll try, I think it's like 10 times over 3 seconds or something before it gives up. It's got an overload too to specify the retry policy, but typically I found that the default works well enough. So let's close the XAML test down. I really want to fix that bug in XAML test such that it kills that window appropriately. Okay. So that went really fast. So it did not get past the wait for. So I think what I want to do is right here, I kind of want to go await, task, delay, because I want to have time to see the state of this thing before it takes off running again. So that's kind of the problem, is right now there's so many animations flying so fast I can't see what's going on. Yeah, so that's a little fast. So let's try that again. Run test. I hate putting in these delays. That should get it passed. Yeah, so that now works. It just needs a little bit longer delay. So we're going to do wait for async then run that test. I prefer to use waits rather than delays because then it waits for the minimum possible amount of time. Yeah, and that didn't work. The menu click is happening a little too fast. I still like the wait here rather than the delay. I think what we can do is something more like combo box get is visible. Let's try that. I hate waits. Oh, I still have the delay up there. That's not going to work. Or, I mean, it will work, but it doesn't prove anything with the delay still sitting there. So will that wait long enough? Is the question. If I just watch for is visible. No, it burned right on through that. So it really, really wants to have some time there. Let's see if we can. And the problem is with delays, there's no way to know. There's no way to know when you've waited long enough. well, this is worthless. Yeah, because we've just shown that that is visible is true even when it's not technically visible, which is awesome. Okay, so that'll be good enough for that. Let's run this test and confirm that this does in fact work. Oh, we need to put some amount of delay back on here because we've got pop-up box on pop-up box. Actually, I think with this wait for, we won't need the rest of it. Okay, so let's try this again. Okay, so that test went green. Huzzah. So that's working. And just to confirm, if we put this back and rerun our test, see if I can dock this over here where other people can see it too. This should go red. Sorry, what? It claimed to pass. Oh, because it checks so rapidly. Got it. So we actually do need a delay to guarantee the failure. That's okay. So that's actually apparently that delay is critical to have the test appropriately fail. This is why it is important to make sure that you have a test that can go red and green, and you know why it's passing and failing. Nothing's worse than having a passing test that shouldn't. Yeah. Build errors. I left XAML test running. I get it. You're unhappy. I'll try to stop leaving that process running. Okay. So that's succeeded. That succeeded incorrectly. Let's just do this. I want to see what's going on again. Maybe 300's a little too short. I'm trying to think of what I might need to look at the animation delays on the pop-up. Sorry, what? 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 Okay. I don't know what you're doing. Run test. So the test is working, and the code is behaving as desired. The problem is my only changes are to the test and not to the code itself, which should be in a failing state. I'm a little confused as to how my test was able to get it into a functioning state. What the heck? So how is it able to do a click? What? No, okay, sorry. I have to go look at XAML test now because I'm now confused as to how this was able to generate a click that didn't click. There's something different about the point of the click, or similar. There's something different here. So go ahead and kill that execution. I want to debug this one more time, but I want to be very explicit about checking or watching exactly where that click lands. So open. Where does the mouse go when it clicks on the combo box? Right on the E in 1. Okay, so if I replicate that, magnifier. Let's see. Whew. Big. Not what we want to see. Okay, so it's not about the point of click. It's got to be something about how XAML test is doing the clicky. So let's see, that's going to be down in visual tree service and something about clicking. Maybe it's actually, I think there's a namespace for like input. Yeah, mouse input. Mouse event flags. So it fires them back to back, and I'm wondering if the click is just so much faster than a human that it's not going to trigger quite the same. I bet you that's the kicker. Okay, so I'm going to log this as an issue for XAML test, and then we can carry on. XAML test. Specifically, I think what I would like to do is give myself a means of adding a delay. Allow for controlling between mouse down and up. See when performing events to have more control to insert delay to be more human-like. Because making the computer more like a human will avoid dodging this. Okay, but regardless, we still have a case where it's broken. I'm going to leave that for now. But I've got a nice test that gets me there. But what I can do is I can now do this. Or at least at minimum, what I have is I can do this. My test can be an easy way to fire up the WPF window to test it, at least for now. Okay, so this button here is used for what? So inside of the template, and let's debug this test real quick. When this guy fires up, so we should be in the broken state. Great, come here. And then snoop. So I can snoop my own test window too. Huzzah. So I want to look at here. We're going to clear this out for the moment. So click, click. Okay, so exactly what we saw before. This templated route here triggered it. It walked its way up the food chain, which didn't leave this toggle button a chance to do it, because this guy here was the one that handled it previously. Now, if we move him down, so let's take this guy here. If we put him down below in the Z order, we'll close all windows and then debug our test again. This guy should then work. Now I go here, I go here. Okay, so what is the difference in the events of how this works? We're gonna go here, we're gonna go click, click. So the toggle button is able to intercept in both cases. So specifically the mouse up. I wish this would jump me to it automatically. So in this situation, let's just go through and recreate a new set of events. I click, toggle template root is wrapped by this toggle button versus template root that is picking it up before. What is inside of this guy? Inner root. I almost want to put the this template root inside of it. The problem with putting it inside is I don't think it'll let you get in. I think clicks will flow through it, won't they? Well, let's see. Let's see. We've got a test now. So let's go here. We do that. Because now it puts it directly in the visual tree hierarchy of that border. Which I think is what we're going for. Oh. Close all windows. Yeah, I get it. You're unhappy. Process was in use. World ended. Aside from the fact that it doesn't work, it's perfect. Okay, so you don't matter, you don't matter. What's actually important in here, so smart hint isn't relevant, you're not relevant. You're the one that we need to get content into. You don't actually make a big difference. So hold on, how come I have column definitions here? 0, 1, 1, 1, 2. It must be 3. Okay. If we put this guy, so what's the failure case then again if I put this guy up here? So this fixes the bug in question, but the original, it would re-break this bug probably. So the whole point of this bug was so that the I-beam occurred when you were over the text box. Let's try this. I think the issue will be is going to come because this will put, well, this should put the toggle button underneath the text box. That's not what we wanted to do. We wanted this. All right. That is not appearing to work, so let's, something is very, very wrong. It's like I'm not always getting a recompile when I expect it to. Yes, turn on AI-assisted coding help. Thank you. I would love it if your AI would help me write code. Okay, so let's go back here. So full rebuild. We're now back in a broken situation. How are we in a broken situation? Do we have outstanding changes against Combo Box? One white space line. That will not do it. I want to see what's going on here. Okay, so events. Click. Click. Oh. Right. There are no changes, which is expected to be broke. Okay. I'm losing it. This is the current state of things in the broken state. Putting it down below here brings the toggle button higher in the Z order than the text box. Therefore, it then works. Oh, I keep doing the wrong thing. Let's try this one more time. Okay. But we are back in the same situation where the I bar is not appearing. But we don't actually have one here. So let's give ourselves a second combo box to play with. So this is just a stack panel, right? Yeah. So we'll just take the name off of this guy. This is not an editable combo box, though. Oh, so this is even worse. This is just a regular combo box. It's not even the editable one. So the... So in the case where it's not editable... kind of wondering if part of the issue is this guy being hit test visible, and wondering if I can toggle that on and off selectively. It surprises me that this template root sends out the... Let's put this guy back. Okay. I feel like I understand this situation a little better now. So if we relaunch here, we should see the... Well, we don't have an editable one. Should add an editable one too. So I want to make sure that I don't break that fix. Okay. Okay, so that... We're back in the broken state, but I'm curious now if the issue is hit testability. So if I look at the events, right, we're going to clear this guy out. So this came from template root. This bubbled up to here, got handled. This one started here and bubbled up. I'm just surprised that this border was able to pick it up. So nothing inside of here is hit testable. So why is the mouse up event coming from here? So I kind of want to do this. Let's take a closer look at these mouse events. So we're going to ignore all the keyboardy stuff. Okay, so I am interested in preview mouse down, preview mouse up. I'm also interested in. And then we'll just clear some of these other ones out. Great. So preview mouse up. Interesting. So that skipped over. That really surprises me. So if I check background, it's unset, which should make it interesting. So aside from containing it, so I'm curious. Okay, so a couple things I want to try now. So if that's true, let's do one more combo box down below here. Is editable. Okay. Okay. Fix that. Is editable true? I am curious if I can do and get away with that. What actually gets applied to this guy? Corner radius. Corner radius. Please get out of my way, please. Let's see, some attached properties. Great, great, great. Bottom, bottom. Okay, well, let's go back here. That works perfectly. However, it has killed the cursor. I suspect because I can't get into the text box anymore. Okay, so I'm curious if I could bind that thing based on whether we're editable or not. So let's come into here. Yeah, I think that's probably the compromise. Now I'm curious. So that, okay, so I think then the fix, hey, what a difficult one to do. So I think what I can do is template binding is editable. So that'll get me most of the way there, I think. But there's one more permutation of all these combinations that I don't think is being covered yet. And that is an editable combo box inside of a menu. I don't know why you would do that. It feels weird. We should test it. It feels weird. But it is not my job to determine what is weird and what isn't. Okay, so that works there. Okay, so that does work for everything, which is great. Let's do a second menu. And let's just strip the name off here. We don't care. Is editable. Right, and so we will do I can't have two menus at the same time. Probably should just toggle this flag, but whatever. Just comment one of them out and call it good. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm tired of futzing with whatever the problem is with that. Oh, this is not the is editable flag goes down here. Right. Okay, so let's take a look here. So does this work? No, and that's not overly shocking because I imagine it's the exact use case that we were just experiencing, right? If we look at the events, I imagine I go here, here, see, menu items. So it's going to so it did walk right up through the same template route. I wonder if there is a way outside of the visual tree to control routed events. I don't know if this is even possible. Yeah, this is kind of what I want. So yeah, you can do that and pass it over, but I just don't want to have to go to that much effort to move it around. Okay, so not really. Attached events. Events, property changes. Routing strategies. Because what we have is a bubbling. So the way it's set up in WPF is most events are going to either be bubbling or tunneling. The preview events tend to be tunneling in that they will start at the top of the window and work their way down to the target element. Whereas bubbling events are the inverse. They'll start at the target element and work their way up all the way to the window until somebody's handling them. Which is great, except for I have a case where I really don't want that to work that way. Okay, so if that's going to be the case, what I really need to do is put the toggle button in line around this border. So something needs to give here a little bit. Because right now this toggle button is sitting adjacent, and inside of this border contains contains the text box, which is what gets triggered for the editable case. So what I would like to do, I'm trying to understand why this doesn't work, is move this border as a child of this toggle button. And I'm trying to figure out why that fails. So the toggle button is what has the padding around it. We're going to do this. Background red. Make yourself obvious to me for a moment. And background blue. So if we do that, that'll give us, you are already got a background set on you. So I'd love to move the border inside. And I saw that it failed before, but I don't understand why. So let's see if we can understand. Let's see if we can understand the why this fails. Because I don't understand why this content wouldn't appropriately size. And I think we just start with the 2 combo boxes at the bottom. And okay, so this guy has a toggle of this. Is drop down open. But that should be lined up to this guy. I'm missing something obvious, and it's bothering me because I don't understand why this guy is not sizing appropriately. Because inside of him now, okay, something's a little weird. So why? What happened to my grid with all of my stuff in it? Oh, does this style have like a content setter or a template on it? Oh. Got it. So this guy here ignores content. Okay, so let's address that. So let's see. Well, we can do better than this. So we do, the grid is adding no value, so we drop it. Because in WPF, if you can cut down the number of visual elements that you have inside of your tree, that will quickly start to help with your performance. If you have very deep nested templates that have lots of elements, it can really slow things down. Okay, so we have a border, and then a split border, and then the arrow. I think the solution is right here. Instead, we put a grid here. This grid encompasses this border. This grid gets a couple column definitions. Column definition fill. Column definition with auto. And then I think what we do is content presenter. So what this will do is when the control has content, this is what controls inside of the template where that content is placed. So for example, we put this border that contains all of our stuff as the content of our toggle button. But this toggle button's template didn't define a location where the content should be placed. So it was effectively being dropped, which would indicate why things weren't sized appropriately. There was just no content there. So that explains why the button did nothing. But I think if we address this, there's our content. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Look at that. Booyah! That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. That seems to work rather nicely. Let's go back and fix those background colors because those are a little obnoxious now. Don't want you to be indented like that. Let's fix your indentation. You don't actually need to be multi-lined. You probably do. Okay. Do that, do that, do that. That. Boom. Okay, so that cleans all of that up. Let's stop running there and let's fire up the demo app. I want to double check the combo boxes in the demo. And then I think we will PR this fix. Okay, so I believe that is fields. Boom. And where is my combo boxes? Oh, that's right. Combo boxes got moved into their own because they were getting a little out of hand. Get adorner layer. Border has no adorner layer. Well, this is a good reason to test. Bottom dashed line is adorner. Context. I'd really be most interested in knowing where you came from. So there's a border with bottom dash line. Well, I suppose we can probably just hunt this guy. How many of those could there possibly be? Yes. Where? There it is. Okay, so we are going to specifically hunt the ones that I'm sure are in the combo box. Okay, so template root. Bottom dash line adorner. This guy has an adorner decorator up here, which would be fine, except for that's no longer relevant to where we're at, because we are now inside of a different template. Well, I believe what we need, come down here. I believe what we want to do is go up to here and put it at this level. Let's give that a shot. After all my work to indent all those things, I'll probably go unindent them. I'm not actually 100% confident that we don't need the adorner decorator in both places. But we'll know in a second. This element has no adorner layer border. Let's see, where's my immediate window here? I just want to collapse some stuff. Oh, this is... I'd like to identify which one it is. Let's go back here. I'm wondering if perhaps I just need to move it down lower inside of it. Be a little weird to need to do that, but got it. Oh, so that's a problem. The underlying control is now not positioned correctly. I assume that is in relationship to that. Okay, so what does this property actually do? So it registers a Boolean, bottom line dashed adorner. So it's just being used to draw a line. Why do we need this? Why do we need this? Why? So let's see, the specific use case is disabled, has a field text box, and has an it does not have a filled text box and does not have outline. So it's not filled, not outlined, and disabled. So which one is that? The got it. Okay. So the issue is this thing got moved inside where now there is a padding being applied to it. We don't actually want the padding applied there. Seems like there's a bit of a duplication happening with these two borders. Because I'm just noticing that the border brush goes into this guy on the toggle button and then gets reapplied down here. So I think there's a couple things we can change. So this guy here, I think we can move out to here. So that'll fix that. I think you are likely only being used for a handful of things. Does he have a... Is there a corner radius here? There's not. Well, actually, regardless, this doesn't need to be... Because the fundamental problem is this padding, I believe. If I take this off, I suspect those underlines now line up a lot better. Because that's the bug in question that I'd like to fix. But if I can't just blindly remove the padding, it needs to be reapplied elsewhere. Because I believe that's the issue, is this underline is now disjointed from... Yeah, and then there's... That works better. But now, if I were to go and apply Solution Explorer, back over here. Stay. Good boy. Now, if I were to go through and apply the padding, I need to put it somewhere else. Where is the somewhere else? Because before the padding lived on this toggle button, and this toggle button was a sibling of this border, so it would add padding to itself, but wouldn't necessarily pad these things in. So let's open up the demo app. All right, let's play with some values. Let's see, combo boxes. Okay, we want to go combo boxes. So if we go here, let's just pick on the OS one, right? So if we do padding and make it big, like 25 all the way around. That actually still works. Without applying it to the toggle button. Is it really that easy? I think it might be. I think it might be. I don't see... Okay, so last thing I want to try is cutting down on some of these adorner decorators. Because I don't think we need them all. And the fewer we have, the more performant it'll be. So let's cut these out one at a time and see what happens. Okay, so that still looks fine. The underline still lines up. Okay. We know kill execution. We know this one inside of here is what's actually required. I don't think this one's going to be required anymore. I think that one won't be required. Because I think that adorner decorator is just in there to support that pen. Maybe the underline control. Oh, that's interesting. I'm pretty sure that's a bug now with the positioning of this arrow. All right, so if we go back to here, yeah, it properly insets the arrow, but then everything else is off. All right, so let's look at that. So we need some of this thing padded, but not all of the thing. See, that just really exaggerates the problem there. Same with this one. This underline is expected to be the same size as the other one. Okay, well, let's take a look at this. Why? So I'm thinking where are those two lines coming from, I guess, is the first question. One of these is the underline control, which I'm pretty confident is this one on the outside. just given that it's the bottom one has the nice animation. So why? Show me your style. What is this padding that's coming in? Text box default padding. So that can't be what's driving it, because that has no left or right. You have no left or right, only a top or bottom. So you're certainly causing the problem. There's got to be other padding setters. Filled one is off. Actually, that's probably makes sense. It's actually also causing this one to position off. And I believe this positioning is exactly why this thing was specified outside. As a sibling rather than a parent. Well, it is 11:30 for me, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a branch, push my current work on it. So create branch. Let's see. Fix for, what is the bug number? 2340. Fix 2340. And then I don't want all my changes, but I want that one. Redoing the combo box. The issue is the toggle button. Receive the mouse up event when inside of a menu, so the menu of the event and closes. To restructure the template, handle editable, not editable combo boxes, both in outside of menus. Okay, so I will push that. If anybody else wants to take a crack at it, feel free. I would happily take a pull request, but that is the fundamental problem. And I think the solution will be to just restructure this template such that the toggle button is the root element of the template, so it will always be in that routed event handler path. But then making sure that the positioning of those underlines and the drop down arrow are appropriately positioned as well. And I'm not entirely sure how to structure that. I'll probably need to take some thinking time on that. Okay, with that, I'm going to say goodnight. Thank you everyone for coming in and hanging out. It's been fun. Until next time, happy coding.